What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy John, aka Salami Lube. Today, you probably saw by the title that we are talking about the one and only Slim Shady Eminem himself. We're going through his whole discography and we're gonna give him a rating. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check out my podcast, Salami Talk. Thank you all for watching. I just have to tell you that real quick. Thank you so much for watching. Without further ado, let's just hop right into the video. All right, first album up, Revivals. Fucking garbage. Don't listen to it. So next up on his list is his most recent album, Music to be Murdered By. I'm not going to really go into who produced most of Eminem's albums because the main culprit is Dr. Dre and himself. Now, The Alchemist, Eminem, and Dr. Dre all produced on this album, and it came out great. This is a very broad and unnecessarily mean album. Apparently a lot of reviewers say that this album brings up a lot of explosive issues such as gun control and shootings and the Manchester bombing and relating Ariana Grande to the Manchester bombing. So that's fucking cool. But Godzilla with Juice WRLD still slaps, so prove me wrong. Coming up at number 3, we have Kamikaze. Cover art was derived from the Beastie Boys' License to Ill album, and I really like that reference. Really cool. So this is basically Slim Shady at his midlife crisis. Beats are solid. If you're looking for a very hardcore Eminem Slim Shady type album, I guess you could listen to this, but he basically just disses everybody. The whole album, this whole album is basically just one big diss track. And for some reason it still went certified platinum. So let's go on. Up at number 4, we have Relapse, aka Refill. So this was his first drop since Encore when he fell through a big drug problem with sleeping pills. This album was kind of his way to explain, I believe it was from mourning from the loss of his really close friend and rap colleague Proof from D12. What was very interesting about this album that stuck out to me was that they took a different approach. Instead of sitting down and writing songs bar for bar and just writing out a whole song, they basically just had Eminem go in the booth and freestyle over different beats. So when he went in there and just rapped over beats, he basically just came out with more than he asked for and recorded so much songs that it couldn't fit on the one album, which we're going to talk about later when we get into Recovery. Interesting album. He has a song where he literally talks to the devil, so that's cool. It's cool, all the pills in his face. I don't really see an issue with this album. I guess compared to his other works, it's not that good. I like the concept of it, him trying to get back in there, and the way he's trying to explain his drug problem literally through a whole album is very, very interesting. And this album still managed to be 3 times platinum. Moving on to number 5, we have Encore. Encore has a sweet place in my heart because this was the first Eminem album I listened to. Yeah, I know, right? What an album to listen to. The main recognition this album got was from his shots at George W. Bush Still and the Michael Jackson parody from Just Lose It, and the music video with that, with him dressing up as Michael Jackson jumping on the bed with little kids, is just, I cannot believe that they recorded that. Eminem said this is one of his better albums. Obviously he said that before Relapse came out. I don't agree with that. Most of the songs on this were rushed, such as Rain Man and Big Weenie. He literally wrote 2 songs in under 30 minutes, and you can hear it. It was rushed, man. Half of these songs are they just don't make sense. If you cut out the skits, it's just what is it, 40 minutes or something like that, 30 something minutes of just random shit. Obviously we have gems in there like Mockingbird. The beats are cool, and he just has 50 Cent because he just signed 50 Cent, I think, around this time. So it's going places, but it definitely was a downfall from there. So coming up at number 6, we have the Marshall Mathers LP 2. So what a great album, man. Really reincarnates what the Marshall Mathers LP had and missed, and Eminem brought it together in this, I believe it was 2013, with this amazing album, with Berserk, Headlights. The fact that it's produced by Dr. Dre, Eminem, and he also had Rick Rubin come back out of retirement. The same thing that Jay-Z did. Not to mention that Rihanna and the Kendrick features just really shined on this album. Kind of Eminem's comeback, if you want to say that, the comeback of Eminem. But I don't believe that. A lot of people believe that, but he does sound more alive in this album for sure. And by the way, this album went 4 times platinum. So when I said that wasn't his comeback album, well, now here we are. So Recovery was recorded, it was talking about Relapse. He had so many extra songs laying around. He just threw it to the wolves and was like, fuck it, I'm going to drop another album. But this album was more themed about if you're in a darker place, that things are going to get better. And that's basically what he was talking about, even with his whole drug addiction, with the sleeping pills And Relapse just kind of, I guess like Relapse kind of just took it into the mind per se, more of like into the mind of a drug addict. The album really shows that like, hey, like we will get through this, or an individual will get through this. And you really see that shine on Not Afraid, Cold Wind Blows, Won't Back Down, Not Slim Shady. He's coming back as a matured person, seeing the light, you know, like being one with Zen. Eminem's like, all right, I've come to terms. I won't start talking about naked tits and George W. Bush and Michael Jackson and Britney Spears, and, you know, I won't say fuck a lot. So here it is. By the way, this album was 8 times platinum. Who would have guessed, right? Next up on the list, we have The Eminem Show. I believe that this is a bigger and bolder album than the ones that come before it, just because in his other albums, he talks about, like in the Marshall Mathers LP1, what we'll get into, he talks a lot about fame. And this isn't more about fame. It's more about his personal problems, personal relationships, personal things going on in the record studio, stuff like that. Bolder, and it's way more, I guess, dangerous, you can say, like dangerous. So we have more political jabs, you know, like George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden, 9/11, and, you know, the war. This is Limp Bizkit. He disses Christina Aguilera. He disses Britney Spears. He disses Mariah Carey. So there's already like 4 people he dissed. And I think Benzino, he also dissed, the whole magazine thing going on with that. And it all worked out in his favor, because in the end, guess how many times it went platinum? That's right, guys, 12. It was 12 times certified platinum. So Eminem is just throwing up numbers. So next up on the list, we have the Marshall Mathers LP, the first one. And many will argue that this is his best drop, from the beats, lyrics, the theme behind it. I'm telling you guys that you're wrong. Kidding, you guys aren't wrong. This is not his best drop, just because this is him when he first got into fame. You hear that on most of his songs, like with The Way I Am, I'm Back, Limelight, all this. And then like you have other people coming at you. And again, he's still poking around. He's taking shots at the Insane Clown Posse. He's taking shots at Britney Spears. He's taking shots at Will Smith. You know, it's just, he's going off the rails. And this is why people say this is his most dangerous and like volatile fucking time, that Eminem was saying some shit, because he was saying some weird, like he even references Columbine on some of his songs, like, and at the magnitude that he's at now, like that's a really big issue. People were looking at it like, wow, man, this guy is just fucking like just straight turmoil, like he's just causing problems. There's some words in there that the gay community wouldn't really like. Still wants to kill his fucking wife, throwing up 11 times platinum. It's just, Eminem really just shined on this album, but also had a lot of baggage that came with it after he dropped it, dude. A lot of people are going to be shocked that this is my number 2, and it's Infinite. Obviously Infinite doesn't sound the greatest. The only good song on that, I believe, is Tonight. I think that's the song that I listen to the most. I don't even remember, because I don't listen to this album like that. It barely sold 70 copies, but then you hear people say that it sold 1,000 copies and something like that. But the point is that it didn't sell that much. A huge disappointment. And Eminem used this to fuel what was to become his alter ego, Slim Shady. And we get into that on his final project that I think is the number 1, and everybody just doesn't realize it yet. So coming up at number 1, we have the Slim Shady LP, the alter ego that allowed Eminem to vent his frustration about everything was born. And now he decided to condense all that shit into one album. Eminem was getting a lot of thrash for being white and wanting to rap, and everybody just told him to stop rapping and go do something else because you're white. And he used that as fuel to the fire, you know, not to mention, you know, his trailer park trash wife and all this other stuff, his daughter that's about to be born, and he can't even put food on the table. He has no money. He's broke as fuck. All that frustration just fueled this fucking album. You name anything bad in your mind right now, and I guarantee you it is on the Slim Shady LP. We have everything from violence, drugs, sex, misogyny, murdering your fucking spouse, trailer park trash, everything's here. This album is basically what brought Eminem to being able to come up with the Marshall Mathers LP. This is the album that Jimmy Iovine showed Dr. Dre. Without this album, and I am strongly firm on this belief, without this album, I feel like Eminem would not have skyrocketed to what he is today. Because if he did not come up with this alter ego, and he did not come up with the Slim Shady alter ego, there would have been a Slim Shady LP. And that's that. And then he would have never met Dr. Dre. He would have never been able to sign all these artists and become what he is now. And this album isn't shown in the limelight that much. It literally lives in the Marshall Mathers LP shadow. And I feel like this album should just get more credit because it really played a big role in his life. He literally makes murder and misogyny sound cool. So, you know, like, why not give this album a listen? I think all of you should listen to this album and then tell me how you feel after it. Maybe you might shoot your girlfriend after, who knows? So if I had to give Eminem a rating, Eminem is without a doubt getting a 10 out of 10. And the reason Eminem gets it is because Eminem is the fucking GOAT. Lyrically, he can fucking rap his ass off. This guy, no one can compete with him at all. All right. His storytelling is immaculate. He literally made a whole album about storytelling of his trailer park trash and this whole alter persona that he made up. And then linking with Dr. Dre. Granted, he's linking with Dr. Dre, who's probably like the best. Well, isn't probably, he is the best producer out there, right next to Metro Boomin. Even though like Dr. Dre produced most of his, you know, works, Eminem can still produce. So he's not lacking in that. And the flow that Eminem has is great on any song. So Eminem inspired a lot of rappers to go out there, such as Mac Miller, Logic, Hopsin, and he even took some under his wing, man. He signed 50 Cent. He signed Yellow Wolf. He signed West Side Gun. He signed West Side Boogie. He signed Kanye the Machine. All in all, he's the GOAT. Like, he's legendary. People look up to Eminem. People that are big now look up to this person like as if they look up to Dr. Dre, because this is basically Dr. Dre's prodigy. So everyone looks up to Eminem. So this has been Are They Mid with Eminem. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check out my podcast, Salami Talk. Make sure that you guys check out my other Are They Mids, my project mids. Share this around, please. I love all you guys. You know, you guys are awesome. You guys are what inspires me. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for waiting to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.